Hey, this is Albarran. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I have my friend, client, longtime person I've been associated with, Isaiah Grant. He's the CEO and founder of Kingdom Impact. And we're going to have a great conversation today about faith in business and starting a business. As someone that is in their faith and a Christian business owner, and of course about the nitty gritty of marketing and how we've grown our businesses, because we've both known each other for quite a long time. And even as I worked with Isaiah, I was still growing my business. So we've gone through a lot of evolutions and learning just about the different phases of sales and marketing and a lot of different things. And so Isaiah, thanks for coming on.
Man, so Alex, how you doing, man? Thank you for having me here.
Excellent. No, thank you so much for coming on and for taking the time. So I want people to, a big part of my channel is that people go on YouTube and they start talking about business, or they start searching for business and marketing content. And I think they then start seeing 100 million this, 10 million that. And it's a bit too far in the future. Like they're like, I haven't even gotten my first client yet or made
Yeah.
my first video. And we're talking about millions of dollars. So I want people to know about the reality of starting something like this or starting their own business and how it takes time to build something
Yeah.
worthwhile. And so if you could share your journey from where you started, even how we met and all those details, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome. So you want to know the overnight 10-year success.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember it literally like it was yesterday. So I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm at a homecoming for UNC. And so UNT rather. And I'm just like on my phone scrolling through Instagram. And all of a sudden I see an ad. And this ad is with Alex. And I click it and I watch the video sales letter. I'm literally going through his funnel. And this is the first time I've actually been like introduced. Like I had studied people like Ryan Dice, went through maybe some of the certifications, but nothing actually clicked for me. And so I'm going through this guy's funnel. I book a call. That same day, I get on a call with him. He gives me a special price to partner with him. And I just pulled the trigger. And so when I pulled the trigger, I learned about the automated emails, automating, the funnel, text message, the video sales letter, and how to actually start my first successful coaching business. And so I originally worked with, fitness and health coaches. And previously before this business, I did web design. So my first client was a massage therapist. I charged $500 for a website, but I wasn't really passionate about that. I used that to get started in business, but I knew that post college, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in the corporate world, so I needed to figure a way out. And Alex helped me do that. He helped me start my business, grow it to six figures, and it's morphed ever since. I've created what I call the flow method that has helped over 125 business owners last 10 years grow to over 100 million in sales. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the flow method.
Wow. The student has become the teacher. Wow, that sounds amazing.
You're still the teacher, man. You're still the teacher. I'm still learning from you, man.
But Isaiah, if I can mention, I want you to kind of go back then about, because a lot of the people I work with, even existing business owners, they always talk about the fear of failure, the fear of what if I launch this marketing campaign and it doesn't work, or what if I do this and it just doesn't work out? But they don't think about the fear of what if I don't take action and I look in 10 years and I'm in the same place, if not worse. And so talk to me about maybe the mindset, like what led you to just taking action and constantly evolving? Because I think a lot of people are waiting to have their business idea fully mapped out before they take action or just start. So if you can talk to me about that, that'd be helpful.
Absolutely. So there's two things that we typically fear. We're going to be afraid of like how much money we're going to spend and it being wasted, or if we're going to spend all this time doing something and it doesn't turn out successful. And so for me, I knew that speed loves action. Action loves speed. And so the reality here was with me working with Alex, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life working for an aerospace engineering company. I got a job there. I was already traveling to North Carolina. Then I went to Dallas, Texas. And I was like, I got to be on the clock tomorrow. I'm dreading Monday and it's Sunday evening. And I was like, I cannot spend the rest of my life like this. So in order to get through that, I just decided to invest in myself. And the way I eliminated the risk was I had both. I had a 9 to 5 job that was paying my bills, that gave me a little bit of stability and security. And then I invested in something like, the coaching, the help that helped me build a side hustle and then eventually replace, my primary income. So I had a combination of both so that I could overcome that fear of not having enough. And so 2 ways to get over the fear of not having enough is be radically generous, right? And literally in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, it talks about the parable of the talent. The one who had one, he hid his resources. The one who had two worked for another two, and the one who had five invested. And so the reality is, if you're afraid and you're holding on to what you have, you're going to be positioned biblically as an evil and wicked servant. The one who worked and invested was positioned as the one that was good and faithful. And so I knew biblically I had to align with the scripture. I had to do what God was calling me to do through massive action, even with the uncertainty. And so I did a little bit of research, right? I looked at Alex's videos, looked at his testimonials, looked at his process, his automations, his emails, and it showed that he was an expert in his craft. You look at King Solomon, this guy put out 3,000 pieces of content. And so he positioned.
Oh, what a comparison.
Yeah.
What a segue.
Yeah.
And trust me, guys, like I don't want this to seem, Isaiah, you're very humble, but I don't want this to seem like an ad for Alex, you know, speaking third person. And I appreciate you, you know, but I appreciate you, you know, segueing kind of into just your faith and kind of how, you know, that's a big part of you as an entrepreneur to this day. So kind of bring people forward to right now. So how has your business evolved? And this is something where I think people, whether I work with them or not, sometimes they think, okay, even if I take action, I need to figure everything out in the first 90 days of starting my business. And realistically, as you work with clients, you're like, ooh, my ideal client that I thought was perfect isn't necessarily who I want to work with 6 months into my business. So I need to pivot. I need to change. So what has changed? What have you pivoted in your business or business model that people can learn from?
So absolutely. So I'll start with the flow method. So starting with focus. So for me, I went from working with any service-based business owner, helping them build a website, got that out the way, then helped them with business coaching, how to generate sales and marketing, getting that out the way, to, you know, operations, learning how to build a business myself. Then from there, I went from work with all businesses specifically to fitness and health coaches. Then I realized that there's a bigger market, but it's still sub-niche, is coaches and consultants. So what I've realized is that the go-to market that I relate to the most is the one that resonates with my heart in a few categories. I'm passionate about it. You know, it's purpose, right? I'm helping people write a best-selling book that is very similar to the Jesus model of writing a book, a bestseller, creating a coaching program, group coaching, where they're helping their apostles, disciples, and then working one-on-one with the ones that are closest to them. And so I do that now. So I work with coaches and consultants, helping them write a book, turn it into a bestseller so that they can generate 2 to 3 high ticket clients per day. That's I'll call it the 5 Ps: purpose, passion, potential, proficiency, and then also profit. Those are the 5 Ps to helping me identify the right niche market. And now that I have that, I went out there and created a vision, 3 years. A 3-year vision reversed into a 1 year and a 90-day. Because the reality is this: success doesn't happen in a day, and let alone 90 days is hard. So I just want to level set, like, you can have one specific goal for 3 years, but you would have to reverse engineer it into your short term and your medium term. Short term being 90, medium term being a year. And so 90 days may not look like 100 new clients. It may look like 3, 1 a month. If you're brand new to business, if you already have 10 clients, a healthy increase may be 10 to 20%, like each quarter. And so for me, my biggest thing is I want to help people write books that turn into bestsellers so that they can share the gospel and then have a lasting impact through their company, which is their expertise in coaching.
I love that. And like you're saying, sometimes I work with clients, and I've just worked with so many clients. I always reference my experience with that. I've had like probably 1,200 plus clients at this point, like, so different people, different challenges, different strengths and weaknesses. But that's a common one where people jump in and they take an action, they're excited, and then 90 days in, they're like, oh, but like I thought I would be here. And it's like, well, that's your 24-month goal. We're 3 months in. And sometimes you have to break things down into like the KPIs and the objectives, like ultimately removing the feeling out of it. Am I doing what's necessary to get closer to that end medium-term or long-term goal? Am I making the videos? Am I doing the outreach? Ultimately, people can feel busy and they feel like they're getting a lot of things done. But if you look at their objective, are they doing the key things? A lot of the time their focus is in a lot of different places, but it's not on keeping the main thing the main thing. Again, are you doing the videos? Are you branding yourself? Are you writing a book? Like, what are you doing to expect all these clients and this revenue in such a short time frame? And so talk to me about how you work with your clients. You've worked with, like you're saying, a good amount of clients up to this point. So how do you help clients do that challenge of sometimes they want something that, I don't like to use the word realistic or unrealistic, but it's unrealistic, and even if they have the skills, the talent, the ambition, it's just they saw something on YouTube where they just have this unrealistic idea of what should be happening right now in a short time frame. How do you work with them on that, and how can a viewer watching this benefit from that?
Yes, absolutely. All right, so you got people like Grant Cardone, absolutely incredible coach, talks about the 10x strategy. You got to set a dream that is so almost impossible to achieve it. And then when you try to get to it, you feel like you're failing. And then you have people that move at the speed of like 1 mile per hour. They're like, take your time, total polar opposite. And there's a way to find a balance, to be ambitious yet realistic. You may be familiar with this, the Pareto rule, the 80-20 of success. Every department in your company has the 80-20. If you look at lead gen, it's like, what is your one traffic source that you can implement to get predictable leads? For us, it is paid ads through Facebook. And so what we're seeing is that cost per click is like $3 for us running ads, and then cost per subscriber to our program. Like today, we got a new subscriber for $48, which is good for a high ticket program. And so like one thing that we're noticing is that if you could just focus on the 80-20 of marketing, right, for that lead gen, then you can decrease your cost and your time in the business. That will accelerate your progress. The number two for sales is maybe the 80-20 for your coaching company is a funnel. Like for us, we use a book funnel to sell our book, and then also to give people the opportunity to ascend to our subscription program. And by doing that, I have a virtual sales team that literally, as the ads come in, drive leads, then people are subscribed through emails, texts, and through, appointment setters. So I'm fully removed from that. And then the 80-20 of the profit is looking at what I call the 3 T's. You got traffic, you got team, and then you also got tools. So knowing how much you're going to spend in terms of traffic, usually is about 20% for me of our company. And then for team, I try to keep that bit under 30%, but even now we got it down to 20%. And then also too, for our tools, we do about 5%. So I'm always aiming for anywhere from 65 to 70% profit in our company. If you do that, in other words, the 80-20 for marketing, the 80-20 for sales, and the 80-20 for finances, you can exponentially do the Grant Cardone of text while also patiently, moving yourself along the progression line. And so that's why we do that. Is our 80-20 is paid ads for marketing, 80-20 for sales is our sales funnel, and our 80-20 for finances is profit first, making sure that we have healthy margins in the company. And so those 3 systems, if you apply them today, you could grow your business exponentially.
Gotcha. And with your clients that have every, coaching program or company, whether you're a personal trainer, everybody has different kind of like that bell curve. Let's say the top 10% of your clients, right? What are those traits or just things that you've noticed that your top 10% of your clients, they have certain commonalities, they have certain things that are, they all have, whether it's hunger or desire or the ability to learn constantly. So what have you seen with your, again, top 10% of your clients that you've worked with up to this point? What are the most common traits or things that you've seen in them?
Yes. So the world-class leaders that we partner with, number one, humility, right? They're willing to just learn something new, right? Not necessarily throw away what they've learned, in the past, but apply something new. So we see that as knowledge, learning the truth, wisdom as applying, and then understanding is teaching someone else. And that's true comprehension. And so when someone can come into our program, walk in humility, they accelerate throughout the process. So that's step one. Step two is hunger. Like they're at a trigger point in their life. Like they're all in. They're like, man, something's gone wrong or something's gone good. But whether it's good or bad, I have to get results now. And it's not from a place of like, we're gonna, if we don't get results, we're gonna leave. But it's more of like, I have the desire now to put in all the work possible to get the results I need. So there's almost a healthy desperation to get results. And then number three is their willingness to execute. So learning means absolutely nothing if you don't do anything. So they're going out there executing, but they're also optimizing. So meaning that they go out there, get product market fit, they hear from their clients, they're taking that feedback and just doing constant improvements to their systems. And lastly, is this idea that they realize automations and systems and AI should power their team. So they're huge on delegating to a who. So like who, not how. There's a great book that I've read. The whole concept is whenever you got something to do, find you a who. And so they delegate to somebody who can build a system, typically AI because it's free and it's very smart, more efficient now more than a person. You can build playbooks with it. And then they're delegating to automation to do their marketing, their sales, and their finances. And then lastly, they delegate to a person because they realize if they delegate too early, it's more costly. And so they're not afraid to delegate, but they do it in orders and stages of delegation. And those are the four qualities what I see of a world-class leader is that they're humble, they're hungry, they execute, and they delegate as quickly as humanly possible.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. I've seen the commitment be a big one, and people that they put so much pressure on themselves to succeed, they have no other option besides moving forward. I think when people live in the gray and they feel, oh, I could do this, I could not, and my life would be in the same exact place, there's nothing driving them to saying there's no other option. I hate my job, or I hate the way my business is structured, or I feel like I could be living a different lifestyle, helping more people. I need to change that. Ultimately, that person is willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. And of course, they make people like you and I look good at doing our job because they just execute. Like you're saying, they're humble. They listen to us. They listen to our advice, and they just continuously execute. They never look back. They only look forward. And Isaiah, I really appreciate you coming on today. I want to be respectful of your time, and I want you to take away one thing from your experience just as an entrepreneur and even looking forward into the next 10 years of your business. What's one takeaway that either you've experienced, you've learned, or that you'd like to share with the people watching this video, just so they can take one thing away that hopefully impacts them?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the flow method. Focus on what matters, 80-20. Then number two is leverage systems, then use automation and AI, then delegate to a person. So realize there's an order to delegation. If you delegate too early to a person, it can be very costly in terms of time and money and other resources.
So meaning, just to jump in, so delegate too early, you mean they don't have the system themselves kind of mastered, but they try to fix it by bringing a person in and delegating it when you as the founder haven't necessarily figured out that part of your business. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
And there's the second part. So here's an example. I do this 1 to 3 times where I can get a result repeatedly by myself. That's for every department in the company. So the experts that I bring onto the team, they know it better than me, but I know how to do it in case that somebody leaves the company, they get promoted, or they win the lottery. So I know it's satisfactory. And then here's a simple hack is take what you know in terms of your system, go into Chat GPT, record a 1 minute to 5 minute, just audio of the process and say, create a playbook. And then you hand this playbook to an expert on your team after you've proven it 1 to 3 times, let them do it so that they can own it. They get it to 80%. And then you give them feedback for another 20%. Now they're about 98% there, and they update the playbook. And now you have a system built. And so what I do is I build the system first. I have AI polish it. I then go back, get more results, polish it again. I put it through automation, and whatever I can't automate, aka I'm delegating to automation, then I delegate to a person. Because think about it, AI is free for the most part. Maybe you pay $20 a month. Automation is free for the most part. Maybe pay $20 a month. And then lastly, if it can't be automated, you delegate it to a person. I see automation and delegation as the same. Delegating to AI and to a tool. And then to a person lastly. Because imagine this. What if you could get exactly what a person does for you at 3 to 5,000 a month done for you through AI and automation. You could have a business that's not, forget a 100 month business. I'd rather have a 30,000 profit business, pure profit. All expenses paid out, 30,000 coming in every single month. I've been at months where I've made 100K and only took home 10 to 20%.
Wow.
And then you're starting off from scratch the next month. It's a
Mm-hmm.
horrible feeling. You lose one client, two clients, your whole business life can shut down. It's draining and it burns you out. So I'd rather have a $30,000 per month profit business. And so the reality is, if you take these stages of build a system yourself, have AI polish it, give feedback, have AI polish it again, put in automation, then you have a person, if needed, do it, then you become the automated CEO. Is where 80 to 90% of your company is automated and works 24/7 without you.
Right. And especially right now, because
That's what
AI has only been around for maybe like 18 to 24 months at its current state, where people like you and I can use it pretty freely. But imagine in 5 years, imagine in 20 years. So if you start using it now, then you start understanding what it's capable of and how it can benefit your business. So Isaiah, I appreciate you coming on. It's great that we can reconnect like this. So where can people find you? Do you have your website or social media?
Yes, sir. So if you go on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, any of the social media platforms, you can find me at Isaiah Grant, including YouTube. If you would like to learn more about how this 7-figure playbook process works, you can go to kingdomimpact.co/faith-impact-freedom. Or you can just go to kingdomimpact.co to learn a little bit more about our company, and we can send you over some resources to get you started in your journey.
Awesome. Isaiah, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you.